Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very senior and accomplished professional from Maine, USA, Katharine Lee. Kate, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am honored to be here.
Thank you. Kate is the founder of By the Horns. She's a coach and she's a consultant. Her writings have been published in several prestigious plus publications around the world. So, Kate, before we get into discussions about By the Horns, tell me about your own journey in brief.
Sure. My journey has not been a linear one at all.
Mm-hmm.
I actually started out in international public health, and my journey has wound me through supply chain industry, leadership, launching an organization. It's not been linear, but I've taken from each of those experiences, quite a bit and brought them on to the next one. And if I look backwards, I can connect the dots.
Wonderful. So let's talk about By the Horns. Tell me about what you do in this venture.
Sure. So with By the Horns, I work with individuals and organizations in both a coaching and consulting capacity to really help them define and create their futures.
Mm-hmm. And when you say by the horns, what exactly do you mean? I mean, is it to take your problems by the horns and tackle it, or what?
So I came up with that name when I was thinking about what I personally wanted to do. And it was the idea of, I just wanted to take my future and just grab it and go with it. And as I was trying to think of a name for the organization, By the Horns just came up, and it has stuck. And I think it really resonates with those that I work with, because usually by the time, someone seeks me out, they are ready to take that step to really, grab their future by the horns and take their steps forward.
Amazing. So give me an example of how you help others take successful, bold steps to create their future. And what is the process you follow?
So, as when I'm working with someone as a coach, it's really about providing that accountability, the support, the structure, to help people really get to identify different behaviors, insights that can help them move forward. And some of the examples of things that my clients have achieved is, getting that promotion that they have looked for, switching to a completely different field, writing a book, starting their own business, retiring. It really is so varied, because everyone has a different idea of what their success is for themselves and for their future.
Interesting. You also talk of an accountability mindset. Tell me a little bit about how you define accountability mindset, and why is it important for each one of us to have this kind of a mindset?
Sure. So the first part of that is really putting aside the idea that accountability is negative, because so many people associate accountability with something that's negative, with punishment, with blame, with someone doing just a poor job. But that's not what accountability is about. Accountability is about building trust, ownership, and accountability, not only and autonomy, for yourself and for those that you're working with, whether it's with your team, with other employees, or even just, interactions that you have on a daily basis with colleagues. So really is building that accountability, so that you are really able to, rather than make choices, you're able to make decisions for yourself, for those around you, and really achieve success. So, but as I said, the first part is putting aside that negative mindset towards accountability, because if that's the way that you approach accountability, the benefits that can be achieved from it are lost.
Wow. And as far as accountability is concerned, I know all of us as leaders in organizations want to hold people accountable, but how many of us are actually willing to hold ourselves accountable?
think very few people are, is what I have found. And often people aren't realizing, in my work, I have found that people aren't realizing that they're not holding themselves accountable. They're setting goals-ish, but, allowing those to move, or saying that they will do something, but not actually following through with taking the actions that need to happen. And so, really one of the first steps in embracing accountability mindset, in helping others be accountable, is holding yourself accountable. But it's really increasing your own self-awareness around accountability so that you can help others also become accountable.
Thank you. Great response. And Kate, how do you help leaders identify and overcome blind spots? And, some of these blind spots may be holding people back.
Yes, so a lot of it is through asking questions, listening, helping leaders become more self-aware, and really helping leaders to recognize different habits that may be holding them back, different behaviors that are holding them back. And only when there is that increased self-awareness, when there are these insights around those behaviors and habits, that leaders are really able to recognize these blind spots. And it's, not something that happens overnight. It really tends to happen through a lot of question asking on my part, really listening, following through. And, it's a journey. It takes time, but if someone's willing to put in the work to really have those honest answers and really have that self-reflection, then they are, able to realize the benefits of identifying their blind spots.
Yeah. And for my viewers and listeners, could you give me an example of some blind spots that you may have worked at?
Yeah. So, one example would be, someone who really thought that they were communicating with their boss about what they wanted through their career. But when it really came down to it, we realized that, they weren't expressing what they really wanted in a very clear manner. So it was, the communication blind spot of not being fully honest, articulating what they were really meaning, not really having that self-confidence to truly speak up. And only when we recognize that blind spot were they able to go in, have a honest conversation with their boss, and then get the promotion that they had thought that they were asking for several months, but their boss never recognized that that's what they were asking for.
Well said. You also work a lot with leaders. So my question to you is, what are some of the common challenges you have worked with these leaders that they face in their roles?
So one of the most common challenges is just feeling like they are being pulled in multiple different directions and having little or no control over their time or their calendar. Another common thing I see with leaders is really just feeling alone, that they don't have someone that they can truly bounce ideas off of. They have, their friends, they have their family, they have their work colleagues, but all of those people are so close to them. So, really feeling like they don't have someone to be totally honest with about these feelings of, I'm so overwhelmed, my calendar is out of control, I don't have that balance that I'm looking for in my life. And, they really want to have someone who they can, who's independent, who they can share these feelings with.
Very interesting. We also talk about emotional intelligence for leaders. So my question is, how can leaders cultivate emotional intelligence to better connect with teams and drive business success?
So one of the things that employees are looking for, and this, data on this goes back years, is employees really want to feel valued. And that isn't just, hey, good job or bonus at the end of the year. It is having the leader really get to know their employees, who they are, what motivates them, what drives them. And for a leader, it's that question asking. It is that listening to the responses. It is taking action when they have, when they're given feedback. It is responding to what they learn through the whole process of getting to know their employees. And that is what really helps cultivate that emotional intelligence, that connection with their employees that can help build those stronger teams and stronger organizations.
One more question relating to By the Horns, and then we'll, of course, move to coaching. And I know coaching is part of By the Horns. How do you encourage leaders to embrace a growth mindset and continue learning and improving?
Yeah, so I think once leaders start to recognize the benefit of a growth mindset, it really is this snowball effect. So when I'm working with leaders, it's all about taking tiny steps to embrace or act on that growth mindset that then enables them to take the bigger and bigger steps where they're going to see more and more value and success in their roles.
Okay. So let's talk a few questions for you about coaching, but let me start by asking you that when did you decide to become a coach, and what made you become a coach?
I realized as I was integral in growing an organization, from me being the first employee that was hired to growing a team where I was managing 22 people, that what I really enjoyed the most was coaching, was really building up my team, helping those that I brought into the organization identify their goals, helping them work towards those goals. I just loved seeing everyone that I brought on just thrive. And so I decided that I wanted to take that and really make that feeling that I had, the results that I was seeing in those that I was working with, and make that part of my career.
And given your own background, when you look at your own background, my question is, how has your own background supported your coaching philosophy, your style, and your values?
Yes. So as I said when we started our conversation, my background hasn't been linear at all. And I have also been very clear with myself that whatever role I'm going to take on is going to align with my values and with my life. And when I say that, I mean that, what I wanted to do, where my values was very different when I was 20 years old than when I was 30 years old, when I had children, as I've progressed. And, with many of the people that I work with, they are hesitant about, is it okay to change careers? Is it okay that what I want to do now is so different than what I wanted to do when I graduated from college? And is it okay to actually make that change? And, I feel like I bring my lived experience, it's okay to make a change, to act on, how you want to feel to my coaching, to my clients.
Fascinating. My next question is about, most of us have people in our lives who influence us, who we look up to. How have you been shaped by people in your life, and how have they influenced you as a coach?
So I've had some amazing bosses. I have had some, coaches that I have worked with who have truly inspired me, some mentors that, I just so look up to. And I take, those experiences and really just try to weave what I have learned from each of those individuals into the work that I do. And I try to just embrace those, positive experiences. At the same time, I've also worked in, toxic workplaces. I've had some pretty negative experiences, and I try to bring that into my work as well, just because people do feel alone when they are going through gender discrimination, for example, or in a toxic workplace. And, I can have that empathy. I've been there. And so I'm really able to bring that to my work as well.
Wonderful. And what would you say are some of your own unique perspectives that you bring into a coaching relationship?
Sure. So I actually asked several of my current and past coaching clients several months ago, what makes me unique? There are so many coaches out there.
Yeah.
Why stick with me?
Yeah.
And I was interested to see that most of my clients had basically the same response, that I have a lived experience that I'm able to bring. I have started an organization, I've built an organization, I've held leadership roles. I've had that winding background. I bring that. I bring humor. And then the other piece is I am a voracious reader. Both what is happening online, business books, you can see behind me. My shelves are constantly growing, and I'm really able to bring that to my clients as well. And they really value that whole arc of experience.
Fascinating.
Perspective.
So I have time for two more questions for you, Kate. My next question is about a lot of the young leaders, the millennials and the Gen Zs. I think it's still a little early for the alpha gen to come into the workplace, but I know millennials and Gen Zs are now getting into positions of influence. And I've often said I'm from the boomers generation, but I think the young leaders have brought in a breath of fresh air into every organization. My question to you as a coach is, what, in your opinion, are some of the areas these young leaders need to be coached in?
It's going back to what I said earlier about values. The younger leaders really are driven by their values. They want to have their values align with their the work that they're doing, and providing the structure and support to say that's okay. And not only is it okay, but by being values driven as a leader and really stepping into that, I truly believe that those younger leaders are going to shape our collective future in a positive way. So, really providing the support for those leaders to really step into that values driven leadership. The other piece is I found that there's a lot of balance that needs to happen. And I don't love the word balance because it is a constant shift. You're never going to find equilibrium. But younger leaders now are struggling with, how do I manage my my work, my family, and many are also balancing caring for parents as well. So how do you approach all of those pieces in your life and have a successful career?
Amazing. And my last question to you, Kate, and this is for the thousands of people who will listen to our conversation. Based on your own incredible journey, which you said has been non-linear, what would you say are 3 lessons you would want our viewers and listeners to take away?
The first lesson is don't let someone define your success for you. You can decide. You can define what your own success is. The other lesson would be really embrace that accountability mindset, because that's really going to help you define that future for yourself and really be able to step into it and create it. And I think following on that is that you really can create whatever you want from your life. It goes back to that defining your own success, but I think it is also you can define what that future, what that life is that you want.
Oh, wonderful. And on that note, Kate, and your 3 wonderful lessons: define your own success, embrace an accountability mindset, and third is create what you want. Thank you so much for talking to me about your own journey. Thank you for talking to me about By the Horns and all the work you're doing there. Thank you also for speaking to me about coaching and some of your own thoughts, some of your own philosophies for you as a coach. Thank you for speaking to me, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.